all you boys and girls hanging out there on the Max Tiger's Den. So, hope you guys did pretty good on your homework this week. Obviously not as good as I liked. Some of you are still trying to stay in the dark ages, but for the most part, most of you did. Okay, guys, everybody, if you can't see my screen, you're doing something wrong. But we're ready to roll here. In addition to Chris's housekeeping duties, only 3 of you took the time to tell me about your scrolls that were part of the homework. 3 people out of almost 100. So you can either participate in the training or you can throw your money down in a rat hole. So I just want to tell you that does please me, that you guys, you can't own this training until you actually do the work. And I'm going to keep telling you that, and I'm not going to feel sorry for you if you don't know how to do this or that at the end of the training, because it's up to you. I'm putting it out there. It's on the videos, everything else, and so consider yourself scolded. We're adults here. We're not 5th graders that we have to be followed up with a ball and chain. So I'm simply telling you that until you do the scrolls, you're not going to know your ass from $3 a week about trading. There are a few of you that I already recognize that probably shouldn't be trading until you have a lot more experience in training, and I don't know where you would get that, except some of the folks on the Max have gone through the Max 5 or 6 times just for reassurance to make sure that they felt like they were doing. But a lot of you have got to study MetaTrader 4. We're not here to teach you about operating MetaTrader 4 software. You need to do that on your own and just go through the software and click every button on it and see what it does. Shelley wrote the 3 trading materials that are on the file section, and if you don't get it, I can't force you to get it. But I really, and I don't like to start these meetings out on a negative tone, but I'm really unhappy about the way you guys are doing. And we're doing our best to keep up and to grade your papers and to teach you the proper ways. But until you do some scrolls on a bunch of charts, you're not going to know what's going on, no matter how hard we try to do this for you. Okay, so much for that. Homework. Your homework this time did improve in certain areas. Some of you still don't know the difference between a BO and a BT and an after mow. We're going to go over that again right now, just to show you. And sometimes there is a question of which kind of a mow it is, and I have to look at it and think about it sometimes myself. So it's not it's not complicated. There's 3 very simple types of mows. Maybe one other that is hard to define, so I haven't even brought it up yet, but you'll remember it when you encounter it. So here we go, off and running. Now, before we talk about mows anymore today, I'm going to add a couple of things to the chart, more goodies for you to help you do things right. And I'm widening the SRO line. Now, to the SRO, I'm going to add what is called the OBOS, O-B-O-S. OB oscillator is what it is. I'm going to add that to the chart, and the settings, we've already got them set. It's just the standard OB oscillator. I'm going to drag it over here. The color is yellow. We make it 2 things. The setting is 13. And we're going to pop it down there. And what you're going to see here is another way to determine, if you see that divergence right there on that chart, isn't that beautiful? That's telling you that this is flat and that's going to go up. That's telling you the same thing with this divergence right here. Most of you, again, did not do your M's and W's on your homework. So this week, part of the homework is going to be scrolls on your charts with homework with M's and W's on them. And I'm adding some stuff here to make it easy for you to spot them. Now, just right here in this area of the chart, the end of it's the pound dollar. At the end of it, from here to here, I want to start here and I want to show you. I'm going to mark. See that little elongated thing there? That's an M. And there's another little M right there. Now what does price do after that M shows up? It goes down. Amazing. Isn't that amazing? How hard is that to learn that? Now down here, there's a W. It's kind of an elongated W. But what does price do after that does? It goes up. Little 3 or 4 bars later, it goes up. Isn't that amazing? Early warning. I told you guys about this, but most of you didn't even pay attention. Now look here. There's another. It's an elongated M right there. What does price do? When it does that, it goes down. Amazing. And when that crosses that, that's just another. When the SRO crosses over the obos, it tells you that right there's the place to drop in a trade. So down here you've got a W right here. I'm just going to show you how much. These are a form of divergence, and when that W is there, it didn't go very far. It just kind of made a little pause right there is what it was showing you. And then it did it again right there. There's another W. Look at that. Is that not beautiful? Now let's drop a vertical line at the very lowest part there and see what happened. You see that? When you see that bottom line and you see that W forming and you can move this line over as price moves, look what happens here. It goes up. You get a little warning there. This is going to be important in the latter phases of your training starting next week. Some real and powerful stuff, but you got to get the first 3 basic things under your belt so you know what we're talking about when we're talking about stuff. Now I'm going to drop a vertical line right there on that bar right there. You see what happened here? This has already gone down. You got divergence. You got an M there, which tells you it's going down in a few minutes. And then you've got divergence from the top of it to right there. You had it cross right there. You got an elongated, funny looking W down there at the bottom, but that's still a W. And that's the way I want you to mark them. Mark them at the top. There's a W right there, which shows it was going up to there. These are signals from Mother Nature. And you see how many we had just in that little space right there? I didn't even mark them all. See, there's another M with a W in the middle of it, which told you it went down, that little pausing thing right there, and then it went back up when it reached the bottom here. Okay. Some of you didn't know how to change the color of your diamonds, and that just really threw me for a loop. I thought anybody knew how to change the color. You click on the diamond, MTF MACD in color alert properties, and you go in, it takes you to colors, inputs, common inputs. If it's not in sync with the MACD down here, then this is the alert bar close. You can set that on 0 to 5 or 6, but if you put it on 0, then they'll be in sync. Change your colors. You click on, this is lime and this is red. You click, if you have them backwards, you click and make this one red, and you click and make that one lime. You're supposed to know this before you come to this training. Now, I understand you're here, you can't do anything about that, but you're going to have to work on your trading platform and charting program skills by reading those papers that Shelley was kind enough to prepare for us. So you guys wouldn't have as hard a time as most of us did learning MetaTrader 4. Okay, now, look at that. Is that not beautiful? Now we're going to add something else to the chart. We're going to be adding things today. And this is going to help you stay with the trend. And it's called the Max Venini. I don't know who invented it, but I used to use the TDI from Compass FX. I love the TDI, but I like this much better. So we're going to change this to, what color are we going to make that? We're going to make that lime. We're going to make this, I forget. Let me open it up and see here. We've got the yellow lines. I've got to change those. I'll probably just remove those and take the color out of those. So there's going to be, I'm going to make them Dodger blue. And to put them in the background, I'm going to make them style is going to be dotted lines so they don't show up much. Okay. And then we've got the green line. This line should be yellow, and it should be heavy. And that's going to be lime, and that's going to be heavy. This is called the Max Vanini. When price goes above that 60 and the green line goes above 60, that's telling you, look at that. It's telling you that it's oversold or overbought, and it's probably going to go down. It stays with the trend. If it goes below the 60 line, it tells you that it's ready to go back up. It's another warning signal, part of the tumblers. Now, as far as this goes, let's look at your tumblers here. We've got the Max Vanini, and we've got the Obos, and we've got the SRO, and we've also got the Max, or the MACD. Now, I'm going to remove that next week. It's just part of the training wheels. And we're going to remove the training wheels on the Mo line this next week too. We're going to leave it on for this week's training. After that, you won't need it, because you'll be used to giving some space here between the line itself and your entry point on your Maxes. Now, this Vanini only goes a few hundred bars back here. So let's go back here to where the Vanini begins, so you can see how it trends with the trend. When the Vanini is up above the yellow line, that means it's in an upward or a long trend. When it crosses the yellow line, it means it's probably going to be flat, then it goes back up, and it's going to follow price action pretty good. You see, when you have this, when you're doing stuff like this, mark the highest bar what you're looking at and see what you've got here. Look at your tumblers headed down there. This one tells you it's still flat and it moves a little later. This is a later signal verifying the fact that what the SRO told you is accurate. Up here, this is started down. It's above the 60. Both of them are above the 60. And both of them are touching the top, what they call what's his name? God, I can't think of his name. Calls volatility bands, but they're really just Bollinger Bands. When they squeeze together like this, it's very, very much as similar as the Bollinger Bands are squeezed. Dean Malone is the guy's name. He's the one that invented the TDI. And I like this better because the green line is much smoother. You move on this way, you see how this follows price and tells you where the trend and where price is going. It crossed down there. There was your cross. You had all these things telling you it was going to go down. It ducked under the Mo line there. So there, that tells you that that long business is ended right there at the most. But this was your early warning here, telling you that those railroad-like tracks bars there in the down pin bar. So that told you that that was the end of that momentum trade. And so you need to go through the chart and satisfy yourself what you know and what you don't know. You see, this is down here. It even makes some divergence on its own, or there's a W going across there, and it's going to go up about right there, somewhere in that line there. See, you got that little up spot there. So that's it. It's telegraphing you what the price is going to do and about when it's going to do it. So you had this was a crosser, so let's mark that. There was your cross, and it tells you that this is going to mess around here, and but the trend is going to go down from there. Even though this is varying a little bit, this is the true trend of what's going on the chart. And this is going to be good for your homework later. Now, you see this Mo? This is a breakout Mo. And I got an email with a question today. Now, you're not going to enter this breakout Mo if you're smart. You're not going to enter it until price goes below that support line right there. It's actually a bar or two, but that's the safe way to enter the mow, especially on a breakout mow. That's the toughest one to trade because you have to give Mother Nature room to breathe in here so you can go. And of course this actually was a gap here because that's probably a Sunday, whatever it is. But there's a breakout mow, perfect breakout mow, perfect way to enter your max. Now that's a perfect max. Can't be any more perfect. If you got in there where the thing was, you got in there before the gap, but you'd had to have done that on Friday afternoon, of course. So let's keep going sideways here. Now we got all of this business here. That's not a mow. You see all that garbage in there? That's not a mow. Now here's your mow right here. Now this is still a breakout mow, but actually the way it price entered from the head fakes and everything here, price went straight through. So that's a combination of a breakout and a breakthrough mow. Not hard to figure. There's your entry point right there, because you can see these have got angle here simply because the way it occurred. But you still had trash and spaghetti and all that stuff working, even though the spaghetti was not in the home base itself. So this is a breakout mow with a breakthrough entry. Now you're going to have to watch this video 2 or 3 times to get that. But this is going to save you thousands of dollars in lost pips, losing trades, as well as good entries. There's a good entry right there. The safest entry, of course, would be right there after that first pullback. But here you can enter on one that's gone straight through like that from some distance below, and you can see the angle and separation here all the way through. But you don't enter until after price crosses the last home base dividing line. Now you come here and you got all of this stuff here. This is no mow of anything at all. You go along here and all of this stuff is near home base. It's going to have a breakout. Now you got another breakout mow, very similar to the last one. See? This is not a mow. These aren't mows. This isn't even a mow because it's not even in good place with all of the spaghetti and all this stuff. If you wanted to call this a mow, you would not be able to enter until it got right there. You could call that a mow, yes, but so it would not be a very profitable mow, but it would still be a winning mow if you exited right there where Mother Nature told you to. And you entered the trade right there, so you still made a few pippies, like 13.5. Okay, so prices are bouncing around, going all through here, but people who trade stuff like this are nuts, with all of these lines and stuff wiggling in there in home base. Now, once it goes through, it goes straight through and turns into a breakthrough mow this way. It's a breakout and a breakthrough, but there's nothing up here to keep you from entering right there. If you look at the highest point, 2 points before your entry, it's almost matched up right there. So you have to keep this other stuff in mind here when you're entering. Now, if you ever wanted to consider entering on crap like this, let me draw a long horizontal line. You would wait until about right there. See, because there's your low point. As long as price is messing around there, this can't be a mow until you get through here. And that's a breakout, true breakout mow. But price came right straight through once it decided that. After that long bar, you can't enter here. You have to wait until this first pullback, because you can't enter after a lengthy bar like that. And most of you have gotten that part of it. I'm real proud, because that is the toughest place to trade that I know of. And boy, it'll turn around on you as it almost did here. That very well could have gone back up in there, and you would not had a mow trade, but you'd have had more of this crap. So by avoiding bad entries, if nothing else, it'll save you money. And then when you get a good trade, you'll know what it looks like. Now look at this breakthrough mow. This is a breakthrough, straight through. It went straight through. There's your entry point right there. You can see all of the angle and separation here, even though it's not close. It's probably about right here, but you can see it. But there's your first entry, and it didn't go anywhere. Some of them don't go anywhere. But you see, you had all of these signals here telling you that get the hell out of there. Mother Nature says go home. Take your profit and run. Even though you did it, it's still 45 pips. So, and it hangs around here. This is really kind of a tough chart to trade for some reason today. This is what, but see what is happening here? This is not a breakout mo because there's just no mo to it. No, there's no mo. No mo. And that's not a mo either. Actually, this could be considered a mo, but you have all of these lines still all messed in this spaghetti here, so that's not even a real mo. You got to be careful about those things. Now see, this one turns into a mo because it goes and it pauses right there. So you could have taken a shot right here. Not a good shot because everything is still in there, but if you're going to trade that, you got to trade it at that first pullback, and which proves that it didn't make you any money because it went sideways until it went down. So it made you 20 some odd pips for all that worry. And then when it came back down here, it went straight through, but it's not straight through all the way through yet because of what's going on here. But as you're doing this, back to the factory here, you see that high point right there? That cross right there. And it turns down, almost touches that and turns down. There's your railroad tracks there, so there's no place to enter from that. If you were in a trade, if you were stupid enough to be in a trade here, there's your exit signal right there. See, when this is doing this is no place to be trading, not for me. And see this when it crossed there? Let's mark that right there. See that? Look at that. Absolutely perfect. If it were a mo, but it's not a mo. See? Your mo can't happen until there. So this is not a good chart for illustration purposes, but let's go on here. Now let me do something here. I'm going to remove all those lines and change the I got to save the template. I got to remove those lines first. Hang on. Don't go away. Look at those trend lines. Okay, here we go. Shoot. Okay, moved all those lines. Now I'm going to change this to something maybe a little more solid. Let's change it to euro dollar and see if it looks any better. Okay. Now, I'm going to save this template. I'm going to add something to it in a minute, but I don't want it to kill me. I'm going to save the template as Basic Max 3. And we're going to change this now before I forget it. Make that a 2, 3. Okay. Okay, chart 3. But now you see, well, why did it doesn't like that wide signal for some reason. I'll have to fix that. Okay, so when price crosses up the obos, you've got your W there, you've got an M there. All of these little things are giving you warning signals. It's like learning to read Braille, although not near difficult, because you have nice colored pictures there that you can see. Somebody learning to be Braille has got to do it with their fingertips. But you've got to learn to read these charts just like you read a book. And pretty soon you'll be able to sit down and you'll say, oh my God, that's not a good place to trade. Look at that. But up here is a good place to trade. Look at that. Look what happens. It poked through the Bollinger Bands. Even though your mo line is here, this is still a good place to trade for me. because if you will look at that high point right there, what happens? You got an M, you got a cross, you got a peak. That's the only one that's against you, but the next bar, it's on your side. So we move that over one bar, and then there you are. So there's you a nice Mo trade at that point. Enter there and go down to the bottom, and there's you 50 some odd pips. And this is on the euro, which is a slow mover, slower mover. But and see that this is a breakout now. Let me move this over to the edge of the chart so we can see that this is a breakout. Now what do? You draw this line. You can put the Donchian channels on there, or you can just put you a trend line all the way across there. You don't know where that thing is going to end, but look where it ended, right on a ledge. So there's the first place that you can enter for that. You don't have to try to beat this stuff as long as you get that. Look at that, all that. See, that's all support. And it was support again right here. So it wouldn't have been a Mo if it had gone back that way. See, and this is what can happen to you if you trade stuff like this until it breaks and violates that trend line there. It's just, you can't be any easier to do that. I'm a firm believer in support and resistance, but only at certain points, because we have the max, and later in the course we're going to introduce you to some other things that will make that even easier for you. So let's go back here. You see right there, there's a perfect bunch of garbage right there is what that amounts to. So you had your last point of contention right there. Look, it just almost perfectly matches up. Even though you could have got it up a little closer, you would have still been in the spaghetti. So if you look at that, there's your last line of support, or earliest line of support, with a breakout Mo. Here's a breakthrough, and it did turn into a Mo. Look at that, but not much of a Mo. See, it did turn into a minor Mo, because it's not much, but at least you didn't lose money on it. And your spaghetti ended about right there. And I'm going to add another indicator in a little bit after we go through some more of these examples. Now, this is a breakthrough, breakout, but you got to consider any time it comes along in here and touches this line, that's got to be a breakout Mo, and it's got to be traded as a breakout Mo. So the earliest you could enter that would be right there, even though you've got nice angle and separation there. So that would be the earliest you could enter that right there. Oops. You don't want to rush Mother Nature. And see, this is not a Mo. That's just a scale in, or a remo if you got out here, but it would still be a scale in. Now here you got this would be called an after Mo if you hadn't gotten in here. This is an after Mo, and that's really nice. And you get a lot of those opportunities. See, here's an after Mo right here. Perfect, nice after Mo right there. Everything going the same direction. And here's this would be considered a breakthrough Mo, and your earliest entry would be right there, because you've got all of that stuff at that angle. Its price is broken through there. You don't have to wait for all of these things to break through there if you've got good angle and separation. That's the purpose of identifying a breakthrough Mo. Here, even though this Mo doesn't really go anyplace until you get way up here, I would probably be getting out someplace along in here before it got up there. I wouldn't play this. Probably the second time of this, I would have gotten out either here or here, one of those two places. Now this is an after Mo right here. Beautiful after Mo. And this is a breakthrough Mo, but it's coming after a period of congestion, so it's got to be traded like a breakout Mo. Even though it dropped right straight through there, it's got to be traded like a breakout Mo, but the entry on this one is it looks like it's going to be about the same. See, there's your last line of support right there. Pop, goes through there, then pop, pop, pop. This doesn't really turn into a mow because of that long bar. It does really, but it's got a lot of congestion with it. See, this line isn't straight. The angle, the separation, these two are fine, but this one isn't fine. But still, you did have a mow trade here before that long bar got elongated, and then you got a nice exit up here someplace if you can follow that bar all the way up and stop it. So you'd make 30, 40 pips there. 20 for 24. This is the, and you see here, this still has to be considered a breakout mow, even though it finally, when it did it, it finally broke through. Now look down at the bottom of the chart here. Look at this high point, and look at this next high point. Look what you've got there. You've got divergence right there, although this is really isn't the place where you have divergence. You've still got your M right there on the first part of that. And you got a W here when it comes down to the bottom of it. These W's and M's will help you get out of a trade and do an MX instead of an XXX. But this, your first entry down here can be, since there isn't any stuff down here, your first entry can be on that first breakthrough right there, because that's giving you angle and separation right there that you need to do that. Even though it's a breakout mow, you didn't have any support or resistance along here to fade. Now this is a break. It broke through there, but it didn't give you a place to trade it. So it came back down and did it again. Now that makes it a breakout mow. It can't be anything other than a breakout mow. So you've got to trade it when you get, see that didn't give you an entry. That didn't give you an entry. That really didn't give you an entry. So your first entry is right here. That would be your first entry at the bottom of that ledge, which is fine because you've got all of this stuff going for you down here. Then you've got an SC or an MX. You got an SC right there. You could have an MX there, but that may be too close. It's probably only 10 or 12 pips. Let's see. That's 20 pips. So still, you know. And then you've got this with your railroad tracks like bars there. So there's your XXX. So these things are all over the place. No matter how choppy the markets are, there still are nice mow trades. See, this is a nice after mow right here. You don't have to take this mow to play with this one. Nice after mow there. Angle, separation, everything you need. Here's your nice break. This is almost have to consider this a breakthrough, but it doesn't really make any difference because your first entry is at the top of that ledge or somewhere around the bottom of that bar because of your angle here and everything coming through. So it doesn't matter what the name of this one is. There's your trading situation. Actually, it's a little bit probably at the end of that bar right there. So there's your entry. This is one of those kind that you really can't define, but because it came through like a breakthrough, but it went sideways like a breakout. There's your nice after mow. Those after mows are the best kind. Then you've got this one. It came through, so it became a breakout mow. And there's your best, safest entry right there. And then you've got another nice, safe entry right behind it. So it goes up. Okay. How about questions now? Oboes crossing STO is the signal for what? Oh. Well, see, remember your mow entries. Now, I've told you this before, and I'll tell you again. Your best entries for the mow are going to be when this stuff is at the top. So there's your mow entry, and let's just drop a line right there. It's at the top. And I don't know why that is, but it's a truism that I just figured out that everything else you want to trade going up there, you want to trade it when it's best when this stuff is down here. But on a mow entry, for some reason, the good ones happen to be at the top. The bad ones are right there at the bottom. See? But the warning signal was right there. There was your W and your cross right there. But that's just telling you that it's probably going to happen here pretty quick. Now, this one is a straight almost breakthrough, because when these things have the angle and separation prior to entering all of this, this is considered a breakthrough mow. And there would be your entry right there, just as soon as you have an opportunity there. You can wait for that ledge and be a little safer. No harm in that, but you still have angle and separation. So either place, that's the nice thing about breakthrough mows, is that you get this angle and separation. You see it before much going on down here. I didn't see any questions. Oboes take alternating. Do that apply for long and short? Yeah. Sure, whatever's good. Want to confirm, if angle and separation are good, don't have to wait for mow to cross HB. Not really. I mean, if you've got a good angle like that and this price has dropped through there and it hasn't been, as long as it hasn't been messing around in there to where you get in. You see, you never did have any real spaghetti on this entire thing there. So I would consider that a safe place to do it. But you have to use your own judgment. See, I can tell you all of these various circumstances and give you the hard and fast rules. Obviously, the best place to do this, the safest place to do this, and the rule would be right there. But see, I trade them right there because I've seen enough of them to know basically what they're looking like. And they will all lie to you. It'll come right down there. You could enter there and turn right there and go zip. See, it'll lie to you. Now let's keep going here. Now this is a pure breakout mow. And so you've got to wait. You got to wait. And if you waited and you were smart, you would trade the first shot of it right there. Would be your first entry. They all don't have to be out of there, but they do have to have some angle and separation. And you've also got on that mow, let's look at it and see if... see, this stuff is at the top. Now, well, this part's at the bottom, so actually that began about right up there, so they would have been at the top, and you're waiting for that ledge to form and price to violate that ledge. So when it does, there's your entry point. And the rest of your good entries are down here. You see that down here? The rest of your good entries are in there. Now, these bars are not always going to be perfect alignment, but they're just most of the time, they damn sure are. You see that ledge right there? But most of the time they're going to be, and sometimes they're not going to be at all. See, there you are. And now the further price gets away from the mow line, the nearer you are to ending the trade. See, when that gets there, you're going to start looking, and pretty soon you'll see this happen there, and you'll just know that that's the place to get the hell out. There are other ways that I'm going to teach you later to know exactly what's going on there. But that's for session 5, I believe. Okay, any questions about that mow? You don't make any mows down here. No mow. Okay. You see, this is a breakout going right through there. Your best entry place was going to have to be at least that high. That's a long bar, so you don't want to enter after that. If you enter after that, if this bar turns blue, you can enter there. You've got some angle and separation here finally. You got ledge, exit. Then you got a perfect after mow. Okay. See, this turned into a mow, and it's okay. You're going to have to take a trade like this every now and then. That long bar, you got to wait for that. So you're not going to trade that. So you're going to wait for that ledge to form, you want to wait till that ledge or backup forms after a long bar like that. It's just best to wait to let price do what it's kind of going to do. Still didn't go anywhere even by waiting, but you still wouldn't have lost any money on the trade because you waited for the right entry. Now let's go on back here. Okay, now this one is coming off of a lot of spaghetti here. So really, this is a tough one, and but it's the right thing to do right here. You're not going to enter based on someplace, price being somewhere along in here. So if you did enter, that would be at the end of that ledge, and it's almost in home base there, so you probably would want to wait until this line was violated. Still safe, you still got a long piece of it, but you didn't get anything on it. Even if you've gotten in up here, you're not going to make but a few more pips, but the danger you're taking from it, because it's coming out of stuff like that, is not worth the risk. You don't have to trade like that. You don't have to be in a trade. You don't have to. A lot of people think, well, God, I got to take this or I got to take that. You don't have to be. There's no rule says you have to trade at all today. Sure, we all like to find the nice trades and so forth, but why would you not want to wait until, let's see, there's your ledge over here. There's just some support and resistance. So let's just draw that ledge right there. See, you're pretty close there, down there. After a long bar, it's gone sideways for a while. Get in. You can get in there. It's not a perfect horizontal line, but you can see after that pullback there, you had a place to trade. You don't really get any place to trade. You get a little place to trade here, but things are still all screwed up. Why would you want to take a chance there? But if you did take a chance and you took the trade right there, or right there even, it's going to be one of those, well, as soon as I get in it, every time it turns around and goes the opposite direction. So you have to be watching for an exit if you're trading in crap like that. Boy, that's stressful. 29 pips. Stressful. Look at this. Bounce off of that. That's not anything. That's nothing. That's not anything you want to trade because of all this spaghetti. And none of this stuff until this is, unless if you're going to do anything, you're going to trade down from right here. See, you've got to trade the down part of it. I don't know what this thing is doing. Look at all the making up funny little things. Okay. So you got to pick your re-entry. Look at that. See, if you get in a bunch of scale ins like this and you're not paying attention and you don't get out right there when Mother Nature told you to, what happened? Bippity, 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 and you've lost all of this twice. See, that's the beautiful thing about MXs. And if you entered this trade right wherever you would enter it, let's see, about right there. Yeah, about right there. You're going to take an MX pretty quick. Right there. Well, that first one, now that's going to be about a 25 pip MX, and that's why I harp on this stuff. Let's see, that's about a 35 pip MX. You go on down here and you get a ledge here. If you don't get out here, you're doomed. See, this trade wiped out everything below that except, your 30, 40 pip stop. Now, and I want to caution you on this. I've told you this before. And stops are difficult. They're mainly based on our risk tolerance. I hardly ever get stopped out unless I choose to do it myself. But once I'm in a trade and I've got a lot of profit, I entered here at the right time. Right there, that's a breakthrough trade. That's that combination thing. But I would enter right there, get down here and have it do that. I would MX. To MX there, you're going to be that smart. And then when you decide whether you're going to enter here or not, you're going to watch that blue line. And see, if that blue line is further away from here, you're going to keep your stop, if you're smart, just on the other side of that blue line. And when that blue line gets messed up in here, of course, you're not going to be in a trade here if you're smart. You're not even going to be in the trade till it goes up that way. You know to exit right there. There's your first sign. There's your second sign. Let's see. Now, see, you had, well, that's almost. I don't consider that's a little far away, but it's still a Mo trade. If you want to take a shot right in there, there would be your entry. Even though that's coming out of spaghetti, you're dealing with this. So all those lines are in the same direction. So that would be a small trade. Even this, you wouldn't do this because of the spaghetti there. And this one would be a hard one to take simply because of the way it came about there, but there would be your Mo right there. Up to the top. And see this one coming through here, this is a breakout Mo. Now your first possible entry on this breakout Mo, depending on where everything is, would be right there. But you've still got a little spaghetti there, so you may not want to do it. And then if it keeps going up, you're probably just going to wait for the ledge, which the logical thing to do would be to wait for right there. Although if you take this, it still wouldn't kill you, depending on where you put your stop. And anytime you're dealing with something coming out of home base, if you don't put your stop at least on the other side of home base, you're making a mistake. Now let's see how many pips that would be on this entry. That's only 33 pips. Actually, you could go down a little further and cover this ledge type stuff right here. And so if you did it there, that stop would suffice. You're not going to get stopped out if you go on, if you stay there even with this. So see, you really don't have anything going on here. This is not, because of all this is still a breakout. You don't ever have a good place to enter right there. There would be your first possible entry on this bounce off of home base. You certainly don't do anything after that long bar. You might wait. You could get an entry here, and then you could get an entry here. So there's plenty of entry possibilities, as long as you've got this angle going for you. I mean this angle and that angle and the separation here. You can enter almost any of these places here, or scale in almost any of them. See, look how price comes along home base. It just tries to get back there, but see, the bulls don't like it. The bulls want to go up. So this way, there's a meeting of the minds there. Look at it hanging along here, and then it goes right up there. And so this is a breakout Mo. So your first entry would be at that ledge. You can enter before. Chances are you can get by with it, but why? See, the question you have to ask yourself, why would I want to subject myself to that when that little piece of support right there, that happens to be the best place to enter at the bottom of that ledge, which protects you from that? Woo! Moving right along. Moving right along. Now, see, all of these places, you don't have any trouble entering these. You guys have obviously figured out the scale in. And look at that. See, just bounce right off of home base. Boy, when that thing comes down there and you get that ledge like that, you could jump on that little sucker with all your worth. Bet the farm. And see, look how far this goes. Look how far that goes. Isn't that beautiful? And if you wait and make that nice entry here, you got a nice breakout there. Your first place possible entry on that would be below that ledge. And then you've got another re-entry there, whether you MX'd or whatever right there. You've got another sweet Mo entry right there. Wow, God, how beautiful that is. Look at that, straight down. That's one of those 45-degree deals, or 97-degree deals. And that's where you know to get out, at the bottom. You know you're at the bottom. Look, that's at the bottom. These are there times, and you're going to learn what those things are. Now look at this. After all of that conflagration, look here. You're not going to try to enter based on all of this stuff. you're going to wait, because that's a breakout mow. And you see where you are. Actually, you'd be at about this kind of an angle with the thing. So you couldn't possibly enter before that. So after you don't want to enter here, so this is a 1. If you don't enter when that ledge is violated, then you're going to have to miss this trade. I wouldn't take anything down there after that long bar. You just know when you see them. And every time you miss one, say, oh, I should have done that. Then if you do one like that and win, it'll cost you 5 winners. It'll cost you 5 losers, because you'll try it again. And Mother Nature won't be so kind and rewarding the next time. She'll let you be stupid once or twice. See, look at this one. Look at all of this stuff. Anybody wants to trade like that's nuts. You just absolutely need to go check in the insane asylum on Monday morning rather than go trading. See, now look at this one, how it worked right out. Perfect after mow. Right there. Can't get them any better than that. This is at the top. And you've got all of these opportunities to exit up here. Now I'm going to add something to the chart that's going to give you a little better feel for this situation here. I'm going to show you this. It's called the non-lag moving average, the max non-lag moving average. I've made my little changes to it. Craig Stoltz did. The setting is 21. The displacement is 1. And the percent of filter is 0.5. Don't ask me how I know that, because I know that. I've tried it on enough things. Now the colors are already set. Double width, everything's set. So there it is. Now when you get a situation like this, here's a rule. The chances are you don't have to exit this trade right there if you don't want to, as long as this keeps going up. But it's going to, until it changes to red, but it's going to cost you pips sooner or later if you misjudge what's going on there. But you couldn't possibly trade south, even if it were a counter trade, until that turns the opposite color. This is a guideline that has proven and made me lots and lots of pips at the end of a trade. Is if this is still going up when I exit here, I know I'm doing the right thing, because this is up, and that tells me that I'm at the very top right there at that trade. Okay. It acts, the non-lag moving average acts as a trend line, so you don't have to worry about this being a pullback. You know it's a pullback. You know it's not an exit. When it comes off of there, you know that it's acting as a trend line, even though it's kind of curly. That's why I use 21. You can set this on 13, and it'll be a little tighter up here, but really it's not going to be as good for you. See that nice trend line there? When that comes through there, look how beautiful that is. That tells you that you can stay in that trade. You can stay in that trade all the way over here and still made some real good money. But if you get out there when price touches it, that's the top, and it's going to show you that this is the top here. And look at your entry now from your, this is your after mow right there. That's turned green. This is at the top. Guess what? There's your entry from your tomfoolery here. Even though all of this garbage here, you knew that could have been the place to entry. This is at the top. It wouldn't have hurt you if you'd entered there. It's actually the same place. So that's telling you, and this line is going to help you. Look, coming off of here, you know that that's green, even though this is not an entry. I get tempted now. I rarely do stupid things, but I'm tempted sometimes to enter there when I see that line went sideways and it's still green. But don't do it unless you really know what you're doing. If my pocket's full and I've made a bunch of pips this morning, I might do that just for a flyer and take a little scalp. See this going sideways. Now let's go here. This turns down. You see, this came right on through there. That's a breakthrough mow, just as pretty as you please. There's your entry right there. You see, you've got that angle of separation between the non-lag moving average and the mow line. Didn't make any money because it didn't go very far, but at least it didn't cost you anything. You see this one coming right straight through there? How sweet it is. You get that thing coming there and you got that ledge coming off. You can enter at the top of that ledge right there and get almost the full benefit of that trade, because the non-lag moving average line is telling you after those double railroad track type bars and that little doji light bar, you get out right there and it'll prove that you were right, because that thing is going to it's going to turn to the right, and so you'll know that that was a good place to get out. Not going to cost you many pips. Okay, now this is a beautiful after mow right there. Look at that. That's turned red way up here. You got a perfect shot there. Look at that shot right there. Here's your entry down here. This is your garbage, and it didn't come down here. It didn't give you an entry there, but you're going to draw your little trend line right there, because this is a breakout mow. So you can't possibly enter until price breaks that thing right there, which would be, and you might even wait for the top that looks like if it's coming to a ledge. You wait and you take your best possible entry right there. But you have to be patient on these things. If you jump in right here, but price never does give you a lower point except that 1 point right there to enter. And it's only a few pips, but you'll love yourself when you're able to wait for that little pullback there. Okay, now look at this. Bing de bing, and pops through there. You've already got the angle, because the angle wasn't destroyed by it wasn't in home base that long, but you still have this little do-bobber support line right there. And you've got your angle separation. You see that when that pulls right up there and that bar turns red, you can fade the rest of it, or you can wait for that, but you got a nice little trade there. And you got all of this stuff. I think you'll find that the non-lag moving average will help you in some of your decision making situations. I see this is a breakthrough mow. Look at this. You can enter just as soon as that bar crosses home base right there, because you've got all the angle, everything, and everything was in tune. There was very little spaghetti ever in that. So you could enter there any place on that bar that once it crosses once price crosses home base. See, you've got another situation here. You've got all of these things here. Let's just draw that trend line across there. Look at that. Bing, bing. That's support. So even that, because this is a breakout, you can't enter until that thing, but it just happens to be on a ledge. Isn't that funny? The way it is, that's the way it is. And if you'll draw these lines, you can take them off in 30 seconds if you don't like them after a while. But see, look at this. Coming off of this, it's already through home base. You've got all of this stuff. Your best possible entry is right there. Actually, it's a little lower. This would be your next place, would be your best possible entry, because you've got angle and separation over here now with that. Although that doesn't look to me like a very good place to enter. This is down at the bottom. All of this is down at the bottom. So I probably, this is at the top, but this doesn't look like it would have much of a good entry, because it really doesn't go anywhere after you enter it, but it would be a profitable trade. 35 pips. Okay, let's go back to the front. I think I've hammered at you enough today, but unless you start doing your scrolls, I can promise you this, you're not going to succeed at trading. I don't know many good traders. I only know a half a dozen, period. Good traders, really good traders. And 2 or 3 of them are trading the max. And they've used my guidance here. Boy, look at this. See, this all came through down here. This was a nice mow this afternoon as we speak, right there. that happened. That just started about an hour ago. And so whoever was messing around here doing this with me has missed 23 pips. Big deal. So the point is, when you get this and you get this angle here, you're really in control that way. And when you do something like this, you're in control. And the non-lag moving average will help you see these situations. You don't trade against the non-lag moving average. I can tell you that for damn sure. And see, when price crosses that, if you were thinking about maybe making a counter trend trade, you want to do it right there after price crosses that. But we're not into counter trend trading, and I'm going to teach you how to do it the right way. It's called a primo. Write that down in your little notebook. We have primos, we have breakthrough mows, we have breakout mows, we have after mows, and we have remos. How about that? And no mows. We got a lot of no mows. Any questions?
Jim, I have one.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just wondering if I was on. At the end of that price there, Vanessa has asked, is the green non-lag moving average now confirming an MX or a triple X?
Is it, say that again?
The green tip on the non-lag moving average. Is
Right.
that an MX place or a triple X place?
Well, depending on the tumblers, let's just mark it. Let's see. I really hadn't even thought about it in that manner. Mark it on that lowest point there. This is up at the top. This is going up. This is just turned up. I would say that would be an MX or XXX for now.
Okay. Oops.
That's the reason I've got it set at 21. If you set it at 13, this thing will turn green right here. See? Look at it down here. This is red all the way down, and when that turned, there would be your XXX. Now, we're doing better than that because this didn't give you much crabgrass here. But if you look at the level of where we would exit if we waited for the green as opposed to exiting here, we were taking a chance on price reversing real strong against us. So see, I'm for early exits and then waiting to see if I did the right thing. I can always, I can always re-mow going that way if I made a mistake. But I'm for the earliest XXX possible, but you're going to lose the power of the max if you do that too much occasionally. And sometimes you don't know that this is an XXX situation, but when you see all of that, that is almost always an XXX situation when you get this kind of crap here. Now, it's going to turn around and you're going to go, because of that, you're going to go right back down with it. You're going to have a remo right here. You didn't really lose anything unless you are in 10 or 15 trades, but look how many pips you're going to save between your exit here and your re-entry there. There's 25 pips times 10 trades. See? You're going to save those pips if you wait and you have to get caught and you have to get out someplace up here. So I'm for early XXXs, but I'm for at least testing the water with a couple of MXs. Right here. I mean, of course, there's just no place to do an MX here, right there. I mean, that's an XXX all the way when you get that angle. So somewhere around here, if I don't take an MX there, I'm not going to stay in the trade much longer, because the minute that goes sideways after this kind of crap, I'm going to get out. I don't need these extra few pips right there. I didn't have 2 or 3 scale ins that this is going to cost me very much to get out, but it's the art of discretion. Okay, any other question on that? Let's see. Yeah, because price can go vertical anytime. It can do this against you going the other way. It's not likely to, let's put it that way, but the point is the power of the max is being able to get those scale in. You see, these are not good places to scale in very much, because the mow line is flat. You want to make sure price is breaking away from that mow line before you start scaling in. It's okay to enter a remow there, but I don't think I wouldn't be entering any scale ins. If I did a scale in here, I wouldn't be entering any scale ins there. I want to see some evidence that I'm right. Mother Nature's going to telegraph it in a bar or two. Okay, so remember the difference between your breakout mows and your breakthrough mows. Now here's the deal. I can't grade 80 charts with 80 homeworks with 4 charts in them. So what I want you to do is, for your homework this time, I'm going to make it tough on you. And I don't want all the homework the day of the next class. I want it for at least, homework is due by Friday at noon, Central Standard Time. That gives me 24 hours to get ready and to really go through the homework that you've done. So all homework from today's class is due at noon Friday. I want 2 charts, 1 post from each new student, 1 post, and I want a long chart and I want a short chart. And I want everything marked on there that we've talked about that you should mark if you're going to be a good trader. You know what those things are. I want you to mark the M's on the charts you do, and I want you to mark the W's right like this. I want them marked like that so it clearly shows. If there's divergence, I want you to see that divergence right there from there. If it's flat divergence, you don't have to mark that, but see, there's an M. And there's a lot of power in being able to read these charts. That's telling you that it's probably going to go on down, but it really didn't. It did just temporarily. So on the chart you submit, I want everything marked. I want your, wait a minute, let me get back over here. For instance, if you were submitting this chart, I want a vertical line every place there's a possible entry for a scale in. If you don't take the scale in, I'll know that you didn't take it. If you mark it, I'll know that you knew it was there. You didn't just dummy up and miss it. Because we all do it. That's what these little diamonds there are for. And believe me, Craig and I experimented a lot with these little doobobbers to make sure we got it to the right place. So I want you to mark everything within sight of the chart you submit. Now obviously this chart's not going to start. It's going to start somewhere around here if you submitted this chart, which I don't like because I don't like these scale ins. I want you to pick your pair, the pound yen, whatever. Pick one of the exotics like the Euro Jap yen or something that's not very real popular. But out of the 10 things that are on the homework, that first outline that we did, pick one and pick one homework on one chart and another homework on the other chart, and you submit one homework. Please don't resubmit homework unless Eusebio or Wayne or I ask you to resubmit your homework to clarify some problem that you had where we don't spend a lot of time grading bad homework. I'd love to be able to spend a lot more time and give you more complete explanation, but you guys are coming along magnificently as far as catching them. You see, look at this elongated W here. See, you know that's getting ready, that's told us something. It's getting ready to go down. We don't know when. It could go along for a long way. But at least you're wise to the fact that these things have told you. The M's and W's will give you an early warning. Okay. 2 charts, 1 homework. Mark all the M's and W's, and if you're smart, you'll go back and go through an entire chart and mark all the M's and W's all the way from the back to the front, and then pick out a perfect mow. I want a perfect mow. I don't want any of these little old bitty doobobbers. I want, even because you already know the answers. So when you get a perfect mow, you ought to see that that's a perfect mow right there. Actually, I don't like that angle very well, but it's still a perfect mow. So pick out what you think to be a perfect mow. You can't spot them at the right hand of the chart if you can't pick them out when you know the answers in the middle of the chart. That's for darn sure. and I want you to submit 2 charts. I want you graduates to pick out 1 chart, and I want you to scroll all the way through it, and I want you to pick out 1 long or short, some type of mold that you like, and a bunch of scale ends and the MXs, and I want you to mark everything that we've taught you so far. This is the 3rd session, and you guys, some of you are coming along just really, really good. You're way ahead of the pace. Now, some of you have had prior experience, so some of the things we talk about aren't so new to you. It's adapting your thinking to our way and getting rid of some of your old thoughts. And I'm not telling you all of your old thoughts about other stuff are bad, because there's a lot of good traders and a lot of good information out there. We just know that our way works because it's a visual system, and as it should be. You know, these charts could be, all of these things could be of one shade of green or another. I remember my old stuff was supercharged. It was terrible. So we're going to introduce you to some more powerful stuff next week. Every week we got a little something new for you up through week 5, or I mean session 5, verse 4, 6. And then we're going to go back over the basics and keep going over till you're comfortable. This yellow line is a pretty good trend line, even though it's late. It's telling you where the power, where the voters are. The voters are the bulls and the bears. They're the only people that count in our life. We don't care what other people say about us. The bulls and the bears on these charts is all that counts to us. Any more questions? Friday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time is your last homework, period. And I don't want you guys waiting until Friday morning to do it. My God, you've got Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday between these sessions, so you got 2 days to get it done and make our job a little easier, because we're trying to make your job a lot easier. Okay. Any more questions? Any possibility of an example live trade? Fanny, I don't really know what you mean by possibility of an example of live trade. I don't know what you mean by that. You mean you want me to go to the end of the chart and do a live trade? I don't like to trade at this time of the day, so I don't trade usually after 3 or 4 o'clock, so it's not going to be possible that I could get you anything meaningful, although this is what we missed, and this is what I would have traded had I been there and paying attention, and I would have XXX'd right down here simply because of the way these things were going, and this was going up. I would have XXX. No, I might not. I might have done an MX and let it ride to see if it was going to bounce off of here. Because you just don't know. Anyway, I'm not much of a trader after 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and I don't, simply because it's just not going to be a possible thing. I'd have to be having classes at 2 o'clock in the morning for that to be a reality. I have said before, a real-time example. I still don't know how I would do it. I mean, to where you would know it'd be a real-time example. I can submit a chart to you guys to look at of something in real time, but it's not going to be in time for your homework. If you want to get the video, Chris has got to do the video. You're going to have to do the video a couple of times. Please study the video at least twice before you submit any homework. It'll make your job and my job a lot easier. Okay. No, we're not going to do any live trading. Maybe if we had one at Tuesday night at 7 o'clock, that's even bad too. We'd have to do it on, say, a Tuesday morning at 2 o'clock in the morning. Now Sabio would love that. 2 o'clock London time, or 6 o'clock London time. So that's not going to be a possibility. Excuse me. All right, you guys have a nice week, and I'll see you Saturday at what time?